Hello, Madison. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. I'm looking forward to our session today.
Mm.
At the prior session, we had talked a bit about how you were feeling a lack of balance in your life. Now, there are different reasons why we might feel this way, which can be uncovered in therapy. Sometimes this feeling of being out of balance can really be the overwhelm that stems
Mm.
from anxiety or unhelpful patterns of thinking. As we'd planned, during today's session, we can go over some cognitive and behavioral therapeutic approaches to self regulation. And I can give you a brief rundown on a few of them that are well known, evidence based, and they've um, been shown to be effective for others. And I think they could also be effective for you. Now, does this sound agreeable to you still?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, let's jump right into this. Let's see here. Okay. Now, the first tool comes from cognitive behavioral therapy, which is commonly known as CBT, and it's called cognitive restructuring.
Hmm.
Cognitive restructuring involves assessing patterns of thinking and studying our beliefs that arise from our thinking. You and I would work together to examine some of these thought patterns and then determine which are not particularly helpful for you. Then we can experiment with some alternative ways to view and manage the challenges in your life. Another one comes from dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT, which is
Oh.
a type of CBT. This skill set is called interpersonal effectiveness. They include assertive communication, learnings that can assist with improving and maintaining relationships. Interpersonal skills can help with balancing demands of others with your own needs.
Mm.
And then our third skill set would be mindfulness. This also comes from the DBT camp. Mindfulness is purposely being aware of the present moment without judgment. But in DBT, the training includes skills to make this happen. Being mindful is frequently referred to as being in the moment, examining not only our present circumstances, but our own emotions and behaviors that
Mm.
support the overall goal of DBT to reduce suffering and promote happiness. So, of these choices, which are cognitive restructuring, interpersonal effectiveness, or mindfulness, is there one that appeals to you more than the others?
You know what? I think I'd be really interested in hearing more about mindfulness. I've heard different teachers talk about it, but I don't think I have a thorough understanding.
All right, great. Mindfulness is a very helpful skill for most of us, in fact, and they break down into two main branches in DBT, which are what and how skills. So,
Okay.
the what skills involve what we do to take control of our minds or the ways that we're going to manage our thinking.
Mm.
And one of these frameworks is called observe, describe, and participate. Observing is using our mind and our senses to perceive what is going around us on around going on around us currently.
Mm.
This is not only what we can see, touch, smell, hear, or taste, but also what we're thinking, what emotions are presenting themselves, and the thoughts that are attached to these emotions. Observing is bearing witness to our own behavior and stepping back to be the observer in a situation. And the goal of observing
Mm.
really, is to gain clarity, but also quiet the mind. Our minds can get caught up in rumination and other anxiety-driven thought patterns, like being overly focused on what's bothering us. One other technique in observing is called the Teflon mind. And this allows experiences, thoughts, and unpleasant emotions to appear and then slip out of the mind. Observing our thoughts without judging or reacting to them can take some practice, but mindfulness can help us reduce the intensity of emotions involving certain events or experiences. Now, one exercise we can do when we start feeling overwhelmed is pause and take account of what each of our five senses are experiencing. When we pause and we mentally take a step back, it gives us a chance to calm ourselves and step into the wise mind instead of the emotional mind. Then we make better choices about how to handle our circumstances. Now, we can take a moment here and what are you experiencing in this moment?
I'm experiencing curiosity, and a slight amount of stress because I want to do the mindfulness right, but I feel like that's kind of anti-mindfulness. But
A
yeah, I
little
would love to
judgmental.
practice.
Yeah. These are definitely exercises, it takes practice, and we can work on this in later sessions if you would like. Um, let's see here. Now, describing is, when we're making objective statements about what we observe and feel, kind of like you just did. We're labeling and describing emotions, what we're experiencing in our environment, but without judgment, the best we can. Again, the practice. If we do observe ourselves making judgments, we make a note of it, but we try not to engage with it. We
Mhm.
don't want to get bogged down with the emotions around what we're describing. And the goal really is, especially when we partner it with observing, is to help us stay in the present and focus our attention where it best promotes our well-being. Okay. Then one of these techniques that, incorporates both of these is journaling. And there's plenty of information both online, and I can provide you with some. Journaling is very helpful in increasing your capacity in both of these techniques. So the last part here is going to be participating, which of the how um, is jumping into a situation with both feet, fully focusing on what you're doing, regardless of what it is. Not being self conscious, not judging what you're doing, not thinking about anything else. So if you were eating your lunch, then you're eating. You're not on your phone, you're not watching TV. If you're doing your homework, you're doing your homework and you're not thinking about your relationships or what you're going to order for dinner. One technique I find really helpful in this regard is the Pomodoro technique, which
Mm.
kind of breaks down our tasks into more digestible sections. So we spend 25 minutes working on something, we take a 5-minute break, and then we repeat this cycle until we've done it 4 times, and then we take a longer break. This can be very helpful on shutting out external intrusive thoughts that are competing for your attention on what you're trying to focus on. Um, One other skill in the how camp is called one mindfully. And this is a pretty basic concept where, again, you're doing one thing at a time. You're working on cooking your dinner, but you're not calling your girlfriends. You are working on for your employer, and you're not doing your homework or thinking about your homework. Again, a Pomodoro technique is great in this regard.
Mm.
Now, We are running low on time, but do you have any questions about these techniques?
No, I just find it's interesting. These are all techniques that I used to use in a better mindset, I suppose, like years and years ago, but I've seemed to forgotten them. And I never tried to use journaling and say Pomodoro technique like in unison, I guess. And I think that's something that I would really benefit from.
Actually, that is a great idea, and it does help with journaling because sometimes, for some it's boring. So when you break boring tasks into small pieces, it makes them easier to do because you know there's a break ahead.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, if you could send me those prompts for the journaling that you mentioned, then I would be very interested.
Excellent. I will definitely do that. I will also schedule another appointment for next week if that sounds great.
Yeah, this time works great.
Okay, I will keep it at this time next week, and I will get that information over to you.
Fabulous. Well, thank you for meeting with me today.
It's been great, Madison, and I hope you find this helpful. And I'm looking forward to our next appointment.
Thank you.